At first glance, this is just an octopus, the kind you walk past at the seafood market without a second thought, the kind that ends up on dinner plates. But what most people never realize is that this creature was once one of the top candidates to become the dominant species on Earth, directly competing with us for that title. It appeared 330 million years ago, when most life on Earth was still in the starting blocks of evolution. And from day one, nature handed it advantages that almost nothing else on the planet received. 9 brains, the highest brain-to-body ratio of any invertebrate, the ability to rewrite its own nervous system in real time, tool use, problem solving, and the resilience to survive every single mass extinction this planet has ever thrown at living things. By every measure, it was the front runner. But it carries one evolutionary flaw so devastating that all of that meant nothing. So, what went wrong? What happened that we are not walking around today looking like one, or, at the very least, with a head full of tentacles? To understand why the octopus was a serious contender, start with what is most visible, which is the body. The octopus has no skeleton, and the only hard part of its entire body is a beak smaller than a coin, which means it can squeeze through any opening larger than that beak and access spaces that no predator of its size can reach. When threatened, it does not run. It disappears, because in under 1 second, its skin changes color, texture, and pattern to blend completely into its surroundings, with a precision so exact that military engineers have studied it to develop stealth technology. If camouflage is not enough, it can go further by fully mimicking the shape and behavior of other species, from lionfish to flatfish to sea snakes, deceiving predators through an evolutionary performance that no other creature on this planet can match at the same level. On top of that, it is venomous, capable of regrowing lost arms, and it thrives in virtually every marine environment on Earth, from shallow coral reefs to depths of over 4,000 meters, from freezing polar waters to warm tropical seas. Looking at all of that, this is not a creature built merely to survive. This is a creature built to dominate. But physical ability is only half the story, because what truly makes the octopus a formidable contender is its brain. The octopus has 9 brains, 1 central brain and 8 smaller ones located inside each arm, allowing every arm to process information and act independently without waiting for commands from the center. Its brain-to-body ratio is larger than that of any invertebrate on Earth. In laboratory tests, octopuses have opened locked containers, recognized the faces of individual caretakers, and when scientists changed the rules mid-experiment, they did not repeat the old solution, but instead stopped, observed, and found an entirely new approach. That is not instinct. That is reasoning. But the most remarkable ability, one that no other animal on the planet can match at the same scale, is the ability to rewrite its own neural blueprint. In 2023, scientists at the Marine Biological Laboratory discovered that when water temperature drops, the octopus rewrites its own neural blueprint at over 13,000 sites across its nervous system, essentially rewriting the commands running its own brain within just a few hours to maintain full function in the cold. Evolution normally takes millions of years to adapt, but the octopus does it in a single morning. Yet with all of those advantages, the octopus never became the dominant species, and the reason does not lie in any external enemy, but is written directly into its own genetic code. After a female octopus finishes laying her eggs, a gland located near her eye, called the optic gland, activates and floods her body with a wave of steroid hormones, sending one single command to every organ she has: shut down. She stops eating. Her arms gradually lose control. In some cases, she tears her own skin off, and she dies still guarding the eggs she will never see hatch. In 1977, scientist Jerome Wodinsky at Brandeis University performed a simple but groundbreaking experiment, surgically removing the optic gland from a female octopus after she had laid her eggs. The result? She stopped self-destructing entirely, began eating again, and lived for months longer than any octopus of her kind ever recorded. Then, in 2022, a research team at the University of Chicago published in the journal Current Biology that they had precisely identified the steroid hormones triggering this chain reaction, including 7-dehydrocholesterol, a compound that at high doses causes severe neurological damage. Nature did not leave this to chance. It engineered a precise biological timer into one of the most intelligent creatures on the planet, and has been running that timer without interruption for 300 million years. But that timer did not just take away the life of each individual, it took away something far more important, which is inheritance. Every octopus that has ever lived was born starting from zero, with no mother to teach it, no knowledge passed down, no culture accumulated across generations. They had to learn everything from scratch on their own, and just when they became skilled enough, just when they had gathered enough experience to do something meaningful, the clock stopped. Compare that to humans. We built civilization not because each of us is individually smarter than an octopus, but because we can pass knowledge from one generation to the next. Fire was discovered once and never had to be discovered again. Language was built gradually over thousands of years. Science was stacked layer upon layer, century after century, until we put a man on the moon. The octopus has been doing cognitive work for 300 million years, but nothing has been accumulated. Nothing has been passed on, and every new generation starts exactly the same as the very first one. Their weakness is not intelligence, it is inheritance. So if that had never happened, if the octopus had inherited the ability to pass knowledge forward, what would the world look like today? Imagine that their lifespan was long enough for a mother to teach her children, and those children taught theirs in turn. Then, within just a few thousand years, octopuses could have built shared knowledge, divided specialized roles, and developed a communication system entirely unlike ours. Not sound, not writing, but a language of color and pattern on skin, something they had already possessed for millions of years. And the civilization they built would look like nothing we know. No fire, no wheel, no concrete, but constructed from bioelectricity and chemistry at the bottom of the ocean. A civilization completely invisible to us, but possibly more sophisticated than anything humanity has ever created. At that point, Earth would have had two intelligent civilizations existing side by side, and history shows us that when two equally intelligent species share the same planet, the outcome is rarely peaceful. The stronger one finds a way to dominate, and it is very likely that one of us would no longer exist to tell this story. But if things had gone differently, if both species were smart enough to choose coexistence, then the boundary had already been drawn by nature itself, humans dominating the land and octopuses dominating the ocean. We could freely explore the deepest seas with their guidance, while they could understand the world above the surface through us. Two civilizations, two entirely different ways of thinking, solving together the problems that neither could solve alone. But that never happened, and perhaps it never will, because nature made its decision 300 million years ago. The octopus did not lose the race because it was weak, not because it was less intelligent, but because it was never given the chance to begin. Professor Tim Coulson at the University of Oxford, one of the world's leading ecologists, has called the octopus one of the most qualified candidates to develop advanced intelligence, given the right conditions. Those conditions were never given. And so 300 million years of potential kept resetting to zero, one generation at a time, because of a gland smaller than your fingernail. Today, the descendants of that creature are still out there, At the bottom of the ocean, still intelligent, still curious, still rediscovering everything on their own from scratch, and still dying before they can pass a single thing on to the next generation. That is the greatest tragedy evolution has ever produced. Not extinction, but a genius forced to start over, forever, never allowed to go any further.